Okay, I think we are live. Okay, can someone confirm if I'm audible? Meanwhile, let me check if people are joining. Okay, yeah, people are joining. Hi, Sirisha. So, I'm audible, right? Cool. Hi, Nirja. Hi, Ramswamy, Sayed. Thank you so much. Explain. Hello, hi. Yeah. So let's just give couple of minutes, then we can get started. Hello, hi Anil, hi Girish, hi Ajay, Molly, everyone. Hi from UK. Hi Kirtana. Hi, hi Lucky. Thank you so much for the constant support. Hello. Okay. So let's just wait for one more minute. We will talk about remote jobs, the opportunities in the remote jobs, and we'll talk much more. Yeah. Hi. We'll also interact with people. Okay, somebody said Docker Captain video is super funny. Yeah, it's a nice one, right? Yeah, it's one video where I collaborated with other captains and tried to understand what are the favorite features. Okay, I think we have close to 300 people, 290. So it's a good number. We can get started. More people will join us. Yes, I'm done with my dinner and everything. So usually don't, I'm not on my system from 8 o'clock to 10:30. That's why most of my live sessions are late. Okay, we will also talk about TopMate. When will I open? Sure. Yeah. So let's get started. Let's not delay it further. So ask questions related to remote jobs and anything that you want to ask me. We will dedicate this session to remote jobs, but I'll be open to other questions as well. And if possible, I'll also take people. So post your question, and if I feel that okay, your question is relevant and kind of helps other people, I can also invite you onto the stream. Cool. So, see, talking about remote jobs, the reason why I wanted to do a dedicated live stream instead of making a video on this, because it's easy to make a video. Have been working on a remote job for 4+ years now, or you can say if you remove that COVID part, where I used to work in other company, that's not a remote job because everybody was working 2019 I'm talking about. In 2019 I think everybody was working from home in the later part because of COVID. If you remove that from 2020 November to right now, this 4 years, close to 4 years, where I'm working in Red Hat, right? So I am doing a remote job. It's complete remote. And in this video, from my experience, I will talk about remote jobs, how you can find them, are they still relevant in 2024, are they still high paying jobs, and what are the chances for you to get the remote jobs. Okay, and reason for making this as a live stream is because I can also interact with you people. Whenever we talk about remote jobs, right, people have a lot of questions. So instead of replying on the comment section, what I can do is I can instantly look at your comment and I can answer related to that. So first of all, To be very honest, 2020, where it was the time of pandemic, from 2020 to 2022, there were a lot of remote jobs. Okay, that's when you might have seen a lot of people posting that, hey, I got a remote job opportunity of package 1 CR, 2 CR. Why they stopped remote jobs on every stream? Yeah, that's what I'm explaining. So 2020 to 2022, there were a lot of remote jobs because at that point of time, for companies, let's say there is a company in US, even if they're recruiting someone from US, they will not be attending the office, right? Let's say there is a company in UK, even if they're recruiting someone in UK, they'll not be attending the office. So it is definitely the same if you are in US, UK, India, China, it doesn't matter for the company. So that's why there were a lot of remote opportunities. Because anyways the employees were working from remote, right? So if they hire someone from India, it is equal effort of hiring someone from the US, effort in a sense of managing that particular person. India person will also talk on Zoom, US person will also talk on Zoom, UK person is also talking on Zoom, and interaction is also typically like that, through the Slack, through the email, or through the video conferences. So that's why 2020 to 2022, there were a lot of remote opportunities. In fact, I also got remote opportunity because of that thing. I clearly mentioned I cannot come to office. One is because of COVID, and other thing is because of my family situation. So I'm married and my wife works from Hyderabad. So I said I cannot make it to Bangalore. So or any other parts. So if you want, you can give me a remote opportunity. Maybe if I ask that now, of course, Red Hat has that remote culture even today. Many people work from remote, but if it was any other company, definitely there are more chances of they ignoring me and going for the other person. If you go to companies like Microsoft or if you go to companies like Mag, even they are not providing remote opportunities in 2024. So the chances of getting remote job is extremely less. The reason why I want to stress on this is because Lucky, I will pick up your question. Please do not spam. I will definitely take your question. So, the reason why I'm stressing on this is there are some people who are waiting for the remote jobs. You know, they are only looking for remote jobs on LinkedIn. They are watching the videos like, which portals to apply for remote jobs. They are like, looking around on Google and other places that I want a remote job. So for them, especially, I want to focus in this particular live stream. You might have seen some videos, people talking about 2 crore packages, 1 crore package, 3 crore package because of the remote jobs. But at this point of time, the opportunities are very, very rare. You might be extremely skillful, but to get a remote job, you need to have a lot of patience. For that, don't lose your opportunities that you are currently getting. Don't say that I will only do a remote job, so I will not give any interviews in India, or I will not be giving any interviews that are not open for remote jobs. I mean, if you can do that. Oh, is the video lagging? Can someone say if the video is lagging? Okay, I'm waiting for someone. Oh, okay. Yeah, just it's good now. Okay. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sure it should be good enough. Can someone confirm now if it is good? Okay. Can someone please say if the audio is clear? Perfect. Okay, I see some yes. Perfect. Okay, going back. So what I was trying to explain is, so the remote job opportunities at this point of time are less, and do not just focus on them, because if you just purely focus on the remote job opportunities, there will be chances that you lose opportunities that you will get in India. And second thing that I want to tell is, remote jobs are typically of two types. Okay, one is a remote job for company that has a a location or their office in India. For example, I have a Red Hat office in India. I do a remote job, but my payroll is from India itself. There is another case where there is a company who does not have any office, or they don't have a registration in India, to put it that way. So they don't have a registration in India. So in that case, they will hire you and you will work in the US or the UK payroll, or sometimes you will work on a third party payroll. Let's say Apple does not have a headquarters in India or a location in India. So, I mean, it's just an example. They do have, but let's say you are working for Apple and they have hired you, but they don't have any location in India. So what they will do is, either they will ask you to work on the US payroll, or they will approach a third party. So a company like XYZ, and ask that third party to give a payroll to Abhishek. You're working for Apple itself, but your payroll is running from the third party. This is not like a contract, but this is like a third party payroll, but directly working for Apple, because they don't have company. Best example is Docker. So Docker does not have a registration, or they cannot hire people directly in India. So either they go with third party, or they give you a US payroll or something like that. In the second case, where you are working for US payroll or UK payroll, in such cases, again, you will be looking at that numbers like 2 crore, 3 crore. Otherwise, if you are in India and if you are directly working on an Indian payroll, I think the maximum that you can reach, I'm not counting the shares. Okay. So shares, that is RSUs, are totally different. They will be vested for 4 years, and you should not be counting that. Okay, I'm only talking about CTC, that is cost to company, apart from shares. At the most that you can touch with remote jobs, from my experience, is 1.5 CR or 1 CR, talking about below 10 years experience candidate. Again, if you are more than 10 years experience candidate, then because of your number of years experience, this number might go high. But at least till 10 years experience, which I have, the maximum number that you can see is 1.5 CR, excluding the shares. If you count the shares, that number can go to 3 CR or anything more than that, because usually RSUs are vested in a bracket of 4 years. If someone who is a fresher and not sure what is RSUs, or you are not coming from IT background and you're not sure what RSUs are, company, when they hire you, along with your package, they can give you some shares, and these shares are usually vested in a bracket of 3 years or 4 years. Let's say a company has given you 25,000 US dollars as shares, which is almost like 20 lakhs. Or a company has given you 50,000 US dollars as shares, which is almost like 40 lakhs. But there is a catch. Usually, these shares are not vested in a single year. They are vested in 3 years, or they are vested in 4 years. So even if they're giving you 40 lakhs, usually that comes 10 lakhs per year. So some people, they count that RSUs, and they showcase their package as 2 CR, 3 CR, which is not the case, because you should only be counting for 1 year the amount that is getting vested for you. right? So somebody was saying again the video is lagging, but I think I can see it well. Can somebody? I haven't reached to the point of websites for remote jobs. So it is lagging a bit. Strange. It's good, no problem, right? Yeah, because I just verified the connection. The connection is looking good. Now better. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes, I verified the connection. Maybe if sometimes there is, um, please excuse. Yes, absolutely. Ex Microsoft. Yeah, absolutely. Ex Microsoft here. We must not always rely on ESOPs as it takes long time to get there. Yes. So this is what I was talking about. See, as I'm working in like from past three companies that I'm working for, every company has this culture of ESOPs or RSUs. Again, ESOPs is a different topic. So let's talk about RSUs for now because ESOPs is little different. Let's focus on restricted stock unit, that is RSUs, that you get during your time of placement. And every year again you might get some RSUs depending upon your performance. So whenever you are looking for a remote job, you might get RSUs, but make sure you count it for 1 year itself. You might be getting 1 CR, but if it is vested in 4 years, then it is 25 lakhs only. Don't say that you have 1 CR which you got as RSU, so 1 CR plus 50 lakhs that you got as package, which is equals to 1.5 CR. No, it's not like that. Now talking about the platforms for remote jobs, or let's say the websites for remote jobs. Before I go there, let's see if there is any comment. Okay, there is one question here. Accenture will release offer once they collect document. They collected only PAN and salary slips. Please answer. Yeah, I think that should be enough. So if they have collected your PAN card and if they have collected your salary slips, yeah, that should be good enough because your salary will also have your UAN, PF number. So yeah, that's good. Should we learn full stack as well as DevOps together as a fresher? It's up to you. If you want to learn full stack, you can learn. But to become a DevOps engineer, it is not important that you completely learn full stack. You just need to know how does an application workflow look like, how does software development lifecycle look like, what is the build process, what is the deployment process, what is the release process. At the same time, how the application is written. If you have that knowledge, that is good. Yeah, there are DevOps internships. Just go to LinkedIn and search for DevOps intern. You will see hundreds of people who are doing DevOps internships. And I think even today in the success story, I posted about one DevOps intern. So you can also go there, look at that person LinkedIn name and try to reach out to them. No. Is MLOps take over DevOps? No. MLOps is different. DevOps is different. See, DevOps is basically a culture and this culture is used in different places. If DevOps culture is taken into ML workloads or companies who are developing ML models, then that process is called as MLOps. Okay, the process of implementing automation at every stage of machine learning workflow, just like what you do with DevOps, right? In DevOps, you automate every stage of software development lifecycle to improve the release process or release efficiency. Similarly, in MLOps, you will be introducing this DevOps culture to automate various manual activities in the ML workflow, right? So it can be creating data pipelines or it can be creating ML pipelines. It can be continuous testing of the models, continuous deployment of the models. This process is called as MLOps. Not every company develops ML models, right? At this point, that bracket is very small itself. Whereas DevOps has a huge market because every company needs it. Every company which has a traditional application, every company that needs to deploy a traditional application, not ML models, needs DevOps. So there are two different things. Do not try to combine. I can say MLOps is inspired from DevOps. That's it. Okay, now let's get back to the topic. Which websites to look for remote jobs? Now, again, I will simply tell you, don't waste your time. Just go to LinkedIn and look in LinkedIn itself. There are various videos that I've seen which suggest 10 remote job platforms, 5 remote job platforms. You might get one or two calls from that portals, but LinkedIn is extensively used. You might spend 2 to 3 days to just get one interview call from other platforms. Instead, if you spend your effort 2 to 3 days on LinkedIn, you will get at least some remote calls. That is the job calls. I'm not saying the offers, but you will get at least some job calls. Okay. So focus more on LinkedIn platform itself. LinkedIn has majority of the opportunities today. Otherwise, like if you are not talking about remote jobs, Naukri is also very good because in Indian market, Naukri is used at a large scale because LinkedIn is costly. Okay. The reason why in India Naukri is used even today for recruitment, for job calls, because LinkedIn is very costly. If you know a recruiter or if you know HR, just ask them the price comparison between LinkedIn and Naukri. They will clearly explain you why they still use Naukri today and how cost efficient is Naukri. So for mid-scale organizations which cannot afford that licensing price of LinkedIn, they still rely on Naukri and get the recruitments done through the Naukri. Okay, there is one question. For for many years, we can expect, I think for how many years? I think the question is like, for how many years we can expect remote jobs in DevOps? There is no criteria, right? If a company needs a remote job, then they will look for remote job. That's it. So there is no criteria. Even as like 1 to 2 years experience candidate also, you can get a remote job. Recently, one of our subscribers got a remote job who has like just 1 year experience in DevOps. Previously has 1 year experience, but that was in the freelancing background. So only 1 year experience and they were able to get into the remote job. So it's quite possible. Abhishek, just tell about DevOps fresher. DevOps future, okay. Just tell about DevOps future. The future is very bright, at least according to me, because I have explained in one video. For every company, there are two major things, right? One is the development phase, second is the deployment phase. I mean, I'm broadly segregating. If you go into each stage of software development lifecycle, you have design, you have, you know, gathering the required information from the business analyst. Then you have the development phase, design phase. Then you have the build phase. If you simply break it into two parts, development and deployment. Development has significant impact on the AI. In many videos, I have shown you how to use copilots or how to use AI to easily write scripts or easily write the applications. So, whether you believe it or not, every developer who wants to improve their productivity already started using AI. So, because of which, this particular development phase, it has seen some improvement. Now, every company wants to get that improvement in the deployment or the continuous delivery phase as well. Because if writing a feature previously, if it was taking 2 weeks, and now if it is taking 1 week, at the same pace, you also have to deliver your application. If Swiggy or let's say Uber is developing a new feature, their developers are able to write a new feature once a week, but if the deployment is happening to the production once in 2 weeks, what is the point, right? So there is some level of efficiency that is reached in the development phase. Now companies want to reach that level of efficiency in the delivery phase as well. And next 5 years or above that, I think that will be the major challenge to the companies. if they want to release faster. So they need more DevOps engineers, they need more cloud engineers, people who are good in this particular aspect. That's why I believe future of DevOps is good. Okay. Yeah, I just explained, right? AI does not has AI does not have that much impact on DevOps, where it has very good impact on the development. So a lot of developers started using AI, they started becoming very productive, and companies also are promoting developers to use AI. So previously, if 10 developers were doing it, now at least 6 to 7 developers can do it. So they're not removing the employees. I'm not saying they are not laying off the employees. But what companies have done is they started writing the features faster, they started developing the features faster. But in the DevOps space, majority of the AI tools, they have failed to solve the problem of DevOps engineers because of lack of data, because of lack of efficiency. So yeah, I don't see major impact at this point. Just follow the date roadmap. It is common whether you want to go with the internship, whether you want to get the offer, just follow a date roadmap. When we'll expect more calls, like at least looking from the subscribers point of view, talking to the subscribers, there are so many calls at this point of time. That's what I understood, because I'm not looking for jobs. I only get that feedback from the subscribers. And what I have seen, at least start of September, from last 2 weeks, a lot of people are sharing their success stories. So I believe the market is open, at least in India, and there are good number of calls. Okay, let's see if there are any more questions. Yeah, please share the name of the websites that are providing remote jobs for Java developers. That's what I said. Just focus on LinkedIn. Don't go for too many websites. There are many websites like remote xyz.com, remote xyz. I'm not taking the names, but you know, if you keep going to that websites, creating profiles there, again, trying to be active on that particular platforms, you will only waste time. Instead, just try to focus on one platform. Better go with LinkedIn and try to actively search for remote jobs if you want it. But at the beginning of the video itself, I've told you previously, if there are 100 remote job opportunities, that is in 2020 to 2022, now there are only 10 remote job opportunities. So if you're okay for that risk, if you only want to focus on remote jobs, then go for it. Should I rely traditional tools like Jenkins or upgrade to GitOps tools? So see, even Jenkins can be used in combination with GitOps. GitOps is in the delivery space, right? It is in the continuous delivery phase. Whereas Jenkins is mostly in the continuous integration space. So Jenkins is continuous integration, GitOps is continuous delivery. They should be used in integration. Of course, using Jenkins also you can do the deployment, but traditionally it is more popular for the CI. So it is Jenkins plus GitOps. It is not Jenkins versus GitOps. Okay. How much would a company expect from 1 to 1.5 year experience DevOps candidate? Can you briefly explain high level overview, sir? See, the thing is that whether you have 2 years experience, 3 years experience, the topics will be the same, right? Because you have 2 years experience, they will not, think that okay, let me ignore Kubernetes for this particular candidate. They'll still ask you questions on Kubernetes. But the thing is, if you have less experience, they will be slightly okay if you cannot answer the in-depth part of that particular tools. Maybe if you cannot explain how to write a custom controller or how to use a custom resource definition in Kubernetes, and you just have 2 years experience, they will be fine with it. Whereas as your experience grows, then you need to have more detailed knowledge on that particular tools. So whether you have 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, the tools will be the same. I mean, the technologies will be the same. You still need version control system, Linux, shell scripting. You still need CI/CD. You still need containerization, container orchestration, monitoring. But the level of the questions or the in-depthness of the questions varies from your experience point of view, right? So if you have 1 to 1.5 years experience, as your question says, focus on the fundamentals first. Above fundamentals, if you have little more knowledge, you don't have to have in-depth knowledge of everything. So fundamentals plus little more knowledge, you can start giving the interviews. What is next to Kubernetes? uh, what is next to Kubernetes? Like, Kubernetes is doing well, right? When I mean, see, practically talking, when will a alternative get developed, or when will an alternative become very popular? When there are many challenges with the existing tools. For example, if there are challenges with Terraform, then there will be new tools in the ISC space, right? So there are challenges with Terraform. That's why you have Crossplane, you have Pulumi. Whereas with Kubernetes, the ecosystem is very strong. That's why people are developing over Kubernetes. For example, you have OpenShift, which is on top of Kubernetes. You have EKS, AKS, which are distributions on top of Kubernetes. Or you have Rancher. Of course, there are alternatives to Kubernetes. For example, you have Docker Swarm. You have, let's say, what do you call that? MesoS. But MesoS is absolute at this point of time, if you're talking about the context. But there were alternatives like MesoS, there were Marathon. So, but at this point of time, mostly it is Kubernetes and Docker Swarm. Okay. Does web development really get saturated? See, it doesn't get saturated, but the thing is, in the web development space, there are very good plugins right now. There are co-pilots, there are code assistants, AI, which can help write a web application much easier. Okay. Even in one of the videos, I used pieces for developers. I used GitHub Copilot, and I've shown you how easily you can write a Python or a Go application, a full stack application. So it does not get saturated, but the time it was taking previously is significantly reduced. You just need to know what framework to use, how to do the logic building, and then give those instructions to AI, and your application will be ready. Of course, you still need to know how to write an application, because AI does not give you 100% of the application. It can reduce the time significantly. If you have the code, it can write basic unit tests. If you have the code, it can write the documentation. It can write your API examples. So if you are taking 10 days, now you can write that same application in 2 to 3 days with the help of AI copilots. So because of that, what will happen? A developer who knows AI will be far, far, far more impactful than a developer who does not use AI, or a developer who neglects AI. So instead of saying saturated, my thing will be, Satya, try to focus on AI, try to understand how AI can be integrated in web development. That's how you can also excel in your current stream. Okay, there are many questions. Let's see anything that is good. And meanwhile, we have a new member. Thanks, Pranit. You will get access to the Slack. Why no calls on DevOps? There are so many calls. That's why, the reason why I keep posting success stories. If you look at my Instagram page, I posted like 12 to 13 success stories today, and three more people, they wanted to be anonymous. So I did not post about them, because I only wanted to post people's with a name, so that you can go to their LinkedIn or you can reach out to them on email. if you want to. So there are many opportunities, there are many calls. So please focus on your resume or your LinkedIn profile or Naukri if you are not getting the calls. I think I explained this before as well, but what are the major differences between SRE DevOps? I made a video also. Very simple. DevOps is about reducing the manual activity in the software development lifecycle. If I have to put that in a very simple way. Whereas SRE is about making sure that your application is available and reliable after production. Let's say you have Instagram. So the SRE engineers at Instagram, they will be responsible for making sure Instagram is up and running 24/7 and it meets the expectation of the users. For example, whenever you are loading Instagram, okay, you always get access to Instagram in fraction of seconds or in seconds, right? So it doesn't take a lot of time to for your request to process anything in Instagram. So as SRE engineers, they have some metrics, they have some log information, anything that behaves odd. If a particular feature or the platform itself, if it is behaving odd, SRE engineers, they have metrics, logging, tracing enabled, and they have the SLIs, which is service level indicators, using which they can immediately inform the organization that the system is behaving odd. So they make sure they continuously monitor the system and report any kind of issues with the system. For that, they have service level objectives, they have service level indicators, they implement strong observability, right? With all of these things, they report the status of the system. If required, they can also fix the status of the system. But often developers are also required. Whereas DevOps is all about identifying manual activities in the software development lifecycle and automating any manual activity to improve the efficiency of the release. Okay. Okay, good question. Why do remote jobs require work authorization or visa even though they mention it as remote? They say it's remote, my skills 100%. Yeah, this is very important question because you know you might be working in remote, but at some point they might have a very important meeting, or at some point they want all the employees of that particular organization to meet at a place for a very important discussion or a new feature that is happening. In that case, the in-person communication, if you don't have visa, that will be missed. Second, some countries will have very strict work laws. Okay, just like if you look at European countries, they have rules that the data of the users should not be deployed outside that particular region. Germany, the user data of Germany has to be deployed on the Azure, AWS, wherever it is, but the underlying servers have to be in the geography of Germany. Similarly, there will be countries where work authorization is very important, even though you are working outside of that particular country. And like I also said, sometimes there can be emergency meetings, important discussions where you have to fly and you need that visa requirements, right? You need that visa, I mean. And that's a good question. How come you don't get tired of helping and answering the same questions from us? Yeah, I just got used to this. And initially I used to think the question is repeated. But when I realized that it's not the same person asking, right? Maybe I have explained this 2 months ago. But now what happens, I have new subscribers on the channel. And they might not be looking at that 2 months back old video, right? So it's not their mistake actually. Initially, I also used to think I already made that video. Why people are asking it again? But now I know that there are new subscribers every day, and they cannot watch all 400 videos on the channel. So even if the question is repetitive, I understand that and try to explain. Okay, take my question. What is the question? Hi, I had a question. If a application has 10 micros and interview, we can say microservices. Okay, and in interview, we can say that I have deployed four of them and created pipeline. Can you explain how it's in real time? I did not get the question. If you have 10 microservices, yeah, just say that you have deployed those microservices. And you can say that for each microservice you have implemented CI/CD pipeline. Or if both of those microservices are, can be put in a same application, you can say that you have deployed five microservices. Sorry, you have written five pipelines. Something like that. We have so many examples on channel, right? We have created microservice related CI/CD pipelines, n number of CI/CD pipelines. Recently, I did for a MERN stack application as well in DevOpsify 2. You can take a look at that. Abhishek taken more than 20 plus interviews. Are you asking about me? Uh, yeah, I have 10 years experience, right? I might have given 10 plus or 20 plus interviews for sure. I mean, 20 is a very small number because uh, I have 10 years experience. I switched three times. I'm working in this right now. The company that I'm working is fourth company. So even if you think every time I am switching to a company, if I've given five interviews, it will come to 20, right? Maybe not more than 20. 20 is good. Yeah, I just answered the question. How many interviews have you been in? I think 20. How much? How much do you love DevOps? Yeah, you can see that I'm doing so many videos on DevOps. Although on a day-to-day basis I don't work on DevOps because I'm into a development role. I'm a Golang developer, but I have great interaction with DevOps customers because the applications that I'm developing are used by the DevOps engineers, typically into the CI/CD space, right? So if I'm developing a CD application, the end users are DevOps engineers. So I get to understand their architecture, use cases, and I keep reading a lot and I keep exploring a lot of tools. Because of all of these things, I can explain different tools to you people, and I really love DevOps. Because of that, I'm doing all these videos. Mm, yeah, that's okay actually. There is one comment. Where is that? Yeah. So there is this comment. Today I feel completely broken. I'm learning AWS and DevOps. There was a company who wants to deploy website on this solution. It's okay. You don't have to worry about it. There are so many cloud platforms, right? Tomorrow you might find a job opening where they'll ask you for Azure. It's okay. You cannot be perfect in anything. Just like development, right? Let's say you're learning one stack. A company might ask you experience with Python with Django. That doesn't mean you should not be learning development, or you might be good at Node.js, but a company is asking for Java developer. Will you give up on the development that you are learning? No, right? You will try to find out opportunities on the things that will suit you. If you are a Node.js developer, you should be searching for Node. If you are a Golang developer, you should be searching for Go opportunities. So that's totally okay. It's there in every stream. Please don't worry about it. Okay. So if you are spamming the comment box, uh, first I'll put you in timeout. Second, I'll put you in block list. Okay. I have already put someone on the timeout. Again, if people are trying to spam, I can also put them in the blacklist because everybody should ask questions, right? Why are you spamming the comment section? Tell me roadmap or playlist for AWS cloud are for okay. Tell me roadmap or playlist for AWS cloud architect. If you are a beginner, okay, do not directly go with AWS. Okay, it is utter foolishness if you start with AWS. It is just like trying to run without knowing how to walk. What is AWS? AWS is a cloud platform, right? They have solutions or they have services that are based on something that was on premises. Let me give basic example. AWS has EKS, which is based on Kubernetes, right? So if you don't know Kubernetes, how can you learn EKS on AWS? If you don't know what is a virtual machine, how can you learn EC2 instance? If you don't know anything related to storage, how can you learn, anything like S3 or EBS or EFS? So start with basic DevOps understanding. If you want to become architect specially, you need to have strong fundamentals. So if you ask playlist, start with the DevOps zero to hero. Then go with AWS zero to hero. This will be enough if you want to become DevOps engineer or cloud engineer. Along with that, you also need to have knowledge of Terraform. But if you want to become an architect, above all of these things, after learning DevOps zero to hero, after learning AWS zero to hero, Terraform, Python, what you need to do is you need to focus more on lot of company related blogs. For example, Netflix has their own blog section. Go to Netflix, try to understand their design. Go to, let's say, booking.com, try to understand their design. How did they implement it? Go to an e-commerce company, read their blogs. Every company has their engineering blogs at this point of time. So you can go to their engineering blog section, try to understand their architecture so that you can go to an architect level. Because architect is like, you should be very good at the complete design, right? So yeah, and if you're not an engineer yet, if you're not a cloud engineer at this point of time, please do not think about architect. It has to be step by step. First cloud engineer, then cloud architect. I don't think so. I think more opportunities are in DevOps. But a DevOps engineer can easily get into SRE position. Only thing is they need more knowledge about observability. I got to hear that take a development job and then go for passion for DevOps. How to proceed? I tried MON, but I feel I'm not able to. I'm not made for MON. How should I proceed to get a job? What is the question? I got to hear that take a development job and then go for passion for DevOps. How to proceed? See, for to become a DevOps engineer, you don't need to have knowledge of how to develop a MERN stack application. That is, you don't need to know how to write, let's say, Express related code in MERN stack, right? All that you need to know is what is MERN stack, how the framework functions in general, how it fits into the SDLC, how to deploy a Munstack application, how to build a Munstack application, what is the user workflow. So if someone is hitting a particular route, how does Munstack flow or take that request and process that request? How connection flows to the database? How your front end is connected to back end and how it connected to a database. This knowledge is enough. I hope I have answered your question. Yes, it is definitely required, Sai. So if you want Python, you can go to our Python for DevOps playlist. I started from basic zero. So you can learn Python from there. Thank you so much, Abhishek. And we also have a new member, Sham Sahu Vlogs. So you will get a Slack invite. So once you join the Slack invite, you can join that group for any doubts clearing. The roadmap is same for everyone, whether you're in teaching field, non-IT, you know, or you have a career gap. First, start learning DevOps, right? Once you learn DevOps, then you can showcase some of your teaching faculty experience in DevOps. You can say in your organization, you have a organization portal. Your college has a college portal for which you started working on building required things for that college portal. End of the day, it's also a web service, right? So you can say you started working there and started doing things. How to become member? You have a join button. If you click on the join button, you can become a member. No, it's not a good idea. If you want to transition from machine learning to DevOps, go to MLOps. Don't go to DevOps, right? Because already you have some understanding of machine learning. So MLOps is the right fit for you. DevOps focuses on the traditional applications. That is, all the applications, most of the applications that we use on a day-to-day basis, DevOps focus on that. If you are into the machine learning space, if you know how a machine learning model works, how a ML workflow works, go to MLOps. Is it mandatory to become DevOps and then become DevSecOps? There is nothing called DevSecOps. Okay, I mean, I know there is term called DevSecOps, but a DevOps engineer is a DevSecOps engineer. Today in 2024, if you are not thinking about security as a DevOps engineer, company will immediately fire you. Okay, so don't think DevSecOps as a job role. It's just adding security best practices to DevOps where everybody has to do it. There is no exception, right? A company cannot have a DevOps engineer and a DevSecOps engineer. Company will only hire DevOps engineer. It is your responsibility to think about security. So DevSecOps is basically a name which says DevOps engineer who thinks about security. So every DevOps engineer is a DevSecOps engineer. There is nothing like DevSecper, right? There is only developer. There is no DevSecOps or DevSec person, right? So a developer is a developer, a DevOps engineer is a DevOps engineer. Everybody has to think about security. No, there are no mock interviews. You can take your own mock interview, right? Just try to get some questions from ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT, can you give me 10 questions on Kubernetes? Open your Zoom, try to do your mock yourself. Again, go to ChatGPT back, ask the answers to the question, try to listen back to your recording and see, you know, how good are your answers. If you work for Red Hat, why don't you make OpenShift hero to zero? Zero to hero, you mean? I recently made OpenShift in 1 hour video. I hope you saw that, Prashant. We have Kubernetes zero to hero. OpenShift is a solution that is built on top of Kubernetes. If you know Kubernetes and if you have watched that video of mine, then you know most of the OpenShift. What are the things that have changed? I covered in that video, right? Rest all is same, just OpenShift has more add-ons like operators, it has inbuilt CI/CD solution, inbuilt observability. Those things I've covered in the video. So if I make again OpenShift zero to hero, it will be same like Kubernetes zero to hero. Okay, good question. How to answer scenarios in interview? To answer scenarios in interview, you should do practice. You should not be just watching the videos. You should not be listening to videos. After listening to the videos, you should be doing practical hands-on. Okay, when you do the practical hands-on, you will run into issues. And when you look into those issues, then, I mean, once you solve those issues yourself, you can explain that as a scenario in interview. For example, when you're creating a Kubernetes cluster, you ran into a driver issue. Or when you're setting up a Kubernetes cluster from scratch, your Kubernetes cluster is not receiving the request. There can be some issue with the VPC. You can explain how you have solved that. So just watching the video will help you with the theoretical knowledge. But if you want to clear scenario based questions, you should do practical hands-on. Okay, thank you so much, Jay Krishna Kavali Suresh. Same thing. You just join as a member, right? In some time, you will get a Slack link automatically. It is automatic. I'm not sending it. You will get it from YouTube because you joined as a member. And once you join the Slack channel, there are instructions on the channel. Okay, roadmap to switch from DevOps to MLOps. If you want to, okay, first of all, think why you want to switch from DevOps to MLOps. Okay, if you got your answer for that, then I'm explaining the roadmap. Okay, because if you are already in DevOps, there is a lot that you can do as a DevOps engineer. If you are only interested in the ML workflow, if you are too excited about the ML models, then you should be thinking about MLOps. And in MLOps, if you want to switch there, first thing you need to learn the ML workflow. You need to know what is continuous testing of the model. You need to know what are the data pipelines. You need to know what are the ML pipelines, right? Because you already have DevOps knowledge, it will be little easy for you, for sure. And once you learn these things, you can start looking at different ML tools like ML Flow, the deployment tools like ML Flow or Kubeflow. You can take a look at the commercial or the enterprise tools in that space, and that is how you can transition. You can search for Abhishek.Veeramalla MLOps roadmap. I have made a detailed roadmap, or you can also search for Abhishek.Veeramalla MLOps tools. I have also made that video where you can find top 10 MLOps tools that you can focus. Okay, thank you Raghuveer for the super chat. What is this? This is a super sticker. Okay, I'm receiving this for the very first time. Even it's new for me. Thank you. Deployment went not well as expected. What we do as a DevOps engineer. Whenever somebody is asking this question, let's say you ask me this question in an interview. First thing that I'll ask, what do you mean by not went well? Okay, always try to ask questions. Okay, if the question is not clear, don't try to speak, okay, let me just speak anything. First, try to ask interviewer, okay, I did not understand the question carefully, clearly. Interviewers might do it intentionally also. What do you mean by not expected? Because there are so many things, right? The application might be down, or you're not receiving the proper response, or an old version is deployed. So ask that question. Can you please elaborate? Then let's say interviewer explained that see, the application that got deployed is previous version, or it does not have a feature that we are trying to look at, or there are some security issues with the feature, or there are some critical bugs with the feature. You can say, if the bug is worth a rollback, then I will focus on the rollback, where I will trigger the CI/CD pipeline with an old commit, or I will ask a developer to revert the change, and as soon as the developer reverts the change, I will go to the release branch and I will re-trigger the pipeline with the new commit. So the new commit will have an older version that gets deployed. Because the older version was already stable, the customers are unblocked. Again, interviewer will ask you some question: how will you do it? What is the rollback strategy? You can start explaining that way. Okay. What technologies will have more remote jobs? See, it's not dependent on the technology, it's dependent more on the companies, right? If that company wants to, for example, if you look at companies like Red Hat, they are open for remote jobs. Or if you look at companies like, let's say, Docker, they are open for remote jobs. So it is company specific. If you are in Microsoft, I think at this point of time, whether you are an AI engineer, whether you are a developer, whether you are a security engineer, everybody has to go to office. So it is company specific, not the stream specific. Okay, let's see more questions. How to get real-time project experience? So to get real-time project experience, you should take the YouTube videos, tutorials, try to practice them. Once you are comfortable with the YouTube tutorials, as well as, let's say, you're comfortable with let's say, the videos that you have or the medium blogs that you have, go to GitHub. I made a video where I've explained there are 10 real-time projects that are available for free on GitHub. I mean, I picked up 10 real-time projects. If you search for Abhishek.Veeramalla 10 real-time projects, you will get 10 projects. One is OpenTelemetry, one is the Istio service mesh book, one is the e-commerce bot that is developed by IBM. So you can take those things, and you can start working on that projects from your side, and just change the names. Like, if you're working on an e-commerce bot that is on GitHub, and if you want to showcase real-time experience in your resume, instead of taking that name, you can say I worked on an e-commerce application. The application used to be like this. I developed the CI/CD pipelines for it. I developed XYZ for it, and that's how I deployed it. Right? So you cannot directly work on a real application. Nobody will give you that chance. What you should instead do is work on an alternate open source real-time application that is available, and try to explain that as an application that you worked in real time. That's what people do. Yeah, it is crowded. For sure, it is crowded, but there are opportunities. Right? The jobs are also crowded. Similarly, freelancing is also crowded because it's very simple. You just create an account with Freelancer, Fiverr, Upwork, and you just start bidding. So it's not that difficult. So there are more number of people doing it. Okay, let me take few more questions. And okay, Microsoft is asking on hybrid model now. Yeah, that's what I explained. Microsoft is going with hybrid model. Yeah. Okay, VPC peering. Sure. You just need to have some knowledge on route tables and routes so that you can just connect one VPC to the other VPC. So yeah, sure. We will make a video on VPC pairing. It's not that difficult. Okay, cool. So what are the difficult challenges faced? Okay, sure. I will try to explain that in some video. Sure. MLOps pipeline for sure. First, we will do observability playlist. I'm just finalizing things on the observability playlist. Like I said, so first the documentation has to be ready, right? Before we start the series, because many of the subscribers, followers, they go to the GitHub repo, they read from the GitHub repo, and whatever I explained in the video, they go to that GitHub repository, try to practice by themselves. So focus is more on currently preparing the nodes and the YAML files, manifest. Once we are done with it, we can start the playlist. I will announce it very soon. When is it starting? Don't worry. Okay, cool. I think again the same questions are repeating. So that's all we have for today's video. Thank you so much everyone for joining. See you all in another live stream some other time. I thought of inviting people onto the stream, but I could not find any questions that were relevant to that. So that's why I did not ask anyone to join on the stream. Most of the questions were answerable through the comments itself, or by looking at the comment I was able to answer those things. So next time when we do the live stream, we will try to take more people and we will try to interact with them. See you all in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.